Hey everybody, I'm Kat and I'm the Bicycle and Pedestrian Coordinator here in Collegedale. And right now is a great time to ride your bike. The weather's getting warmer and also it's one of the few things that we can do outside right now. So I've seen a lot of riders, which is great, probably a lot of new riders. So I just want to give you all a few tips if you are digging through your garage and pulling out that old bike. So the first thing I want to actually do is I want to clean my bike. It's a little dirty, a little dusty. It doesn't look like it's in that bad a shape, but one reason why I like to clean my bike first is because it gives it, number one, it kind of gives it a new life. But the big important thing too is by cleaning your bike and going over in detail, you can look and see some things that you might not see if you were just to pull it out. So all you need is really just a bucket and some Dawn and some water and a couple of rags is all I do. And the reason I do this is because, like I said, you get to look at your bike in detail and you can notice little things. If there's, a nut missing, if something's loose, you get to see that in detail. Do not pressure wash your bike. Pressure washers have a lot of pressure on them, all right? So they are going to chip that beautiful paint job. They might even bend something, if you're blasting it with water. So please, please, please try not to pressure wash your bike. If you want to hose it down, that's not that big a deal. You can hose it down too, but I just like to take rag, soap, and water and give it a wipe down so I can look and see what's going on. So, as I clean my bike, I'm going to start from the top and kind of go down. And the reason for that is just because if I start at the bottom and then I go to the top, all the soap is going to drip down to the bottom, so you're going to clean it again. Now that your bike is clean and you've gotten into all the little parts and everything, hopefully you haven't noticed anything missing or broken or anything that looks kind of funky. So now, basically what I want to do once this is clean is I want to do an ABC quick check. An ABC quick check is what you should do before you ride your bike anytime, anyways, anywhere. So, A is air. Obviously, hadn't ridden this bike in about a year, so it is completely dead in terms of having any air in it. So, you want your bike tires to feel firm like an apple. If it feels like an orange, or if there's nothing there at all, then you need some air. Now, how much air do you put in it? Every tire here in America is going to tell you what to put in it. So right here, it says recommended inflation pressure 90 PSI. All right, this is a road bike, so it's gonna have that higher pressure. If you haven't ridden this bike in a while, once you get these tires inflated, you definitely want to, if you haven't already in your cleaning process, you want to give it a good look, because two things that are probably going to happen if you haven't ridden a bike in a while and it's been up and stored is your tires are going to be flat and they're probably also going to be dry rotted. So now a lot of people think that they might need to go run to the store and get new tubes. That is not necessarily the case, all right? If you pump up your tire like this and it seems to hold pressure, then you don't need a tube, okay? When the tubes are inside these tires, they actually are pretty protected from the elements a little bit. So you don't need new tubes as often as you probably think you would. Now, you might need new tires soon though, and the way you would tell is you'd look along the sidewalls right here, and if you see any kind of cracks, especially a whole lot of them, then that means they're probably dry rotted. If you're really dying to go for a ride like today and you just want to get it done, you'll probably be able to survive, no big deal, but that's something you should probably look at replacing pretty soon. B, brakes. So the first thing you want to do before you ride your bike, along with checking your air pressure, is to check your brakes. Make sure they're going to stop you. That's a very important safety tip. So this front brake right here, your front brake's going to be more powerful than your back brake. So if I roll my bike forward like this and I squeeze my front brake, my back tire should lift up just a little bit. Make sense? Same thing, my rear one right here. If I squeeze it, it should kind of drag. You shouldn't feel it stop. All right? Then now I'm going to do both at the same time. Make sure they're going to stop. Looks like they're good to go. C, chain, crank, and cassette. All right? This is the chain, obviously. The crank, not a lot of people might not know what that is, but the crank is this thing right here that your pedals are attached to. If you didn't already do this when you're cleaning your bike, go ahead, grab your crank arm like this and wiggle it a little bit. Pull it outwards like this. See, it's gonna obviously rotate like this, but pulling it towards me, you shouldn't feel it move any. So we got chain, crank, and cassette. Cassette are gonna be your gears back here. So we're gonna kind of do all of this at once since you just now brought this bike down from the attic or the garage, and you wanna clean that chain too. So I like to take an old rag and I like to just kind of pedal through. I'll take my chain lube right here. And I like to go on this bottom part of the chain as opposed to the top part, because if I start lubing this up on the top, it's just going to drip down on my chainstay. So I just take it like this and I run it over all of these little links and these little rivets just like that. All right, I've done that section. I'm going to pedal backwards to a new section. The other part of this ABC quick check is going to be the Q, the quick check part. So a lot of bikes are going to have what we call quick releases. That's going to be this lever down here. You're typically only going to find them on your wheels and on your seat post. This bike is very old. I think it's from the late 70s, maybe early 80s, and it only has one quick release right on my front wheel. So you want to make sure it's in the closed position, just like this. This is open. That means you can take your wheel off. That means your wheel can fall off while you're riding. So you want to make sure that that wheel is on as tight as possible and in the closed position like that. It should be hard to close too, like it should physically hurt your hand. All right, so the last part, that's A, B, C, quick, and then check is check it all over. Like I said, if you've just gotten your bike down and you've cleaned it, you should have kind of done the checking part to begin with already. So those are the things that you need to get your bike up and running this spring.